I live in a neighborhood home with my older sister. We rent the place and split the bills. This was last October, as the weather was just starting to get colder. My sister had plans to meet up with some friends in Florida, so she would be gone for almost a whole week. She invited me, but I couldn't take the time off work. Anyway, she left on Monday morning, which was a day I didn't work. I cleaned up the house and just enjoyed having some time alone. That same day though, around 2, there was a knock at the door. I thought it was maybe a package my sister had ordered, so I answered it. It was an older man, like early 40s. He wasn't holding a package or anything though. "Hi, how can I help you?" The man looked me in the eyes for an unsettling amount of time before answering. "Oh, I just wanted to see who lived here. Sorry, didn't mean to bother you." He smiled and nodded, then walked away. I thought that was strange and wasn't really sure what he meant by that, but I closed the door and continued my day. As far as I'm aware, nothing else happened for the rest of the evening. The following day I had work, so I woke up early and headed down to the office. I got back home at 6. Only a half hour later, and while I was cooking dinner, there was a knock at the door again. I looked out the peephole before answering this time, and it was the same man from yesterday. He was easy to recognize because he wore the same exact clothes. I opened the door, though I was a bit more hesitant this time, only cracking it open. "Is everything okay?" He smiled and said of course, as if I was being silly for asking that. He then said he was just checking in on me. The way he said it was like it was expected or something. "Oh, are you a neighbor of mine? I didn't know," I said, assuming he must be one of those older nosy neighbors. It still would be strange for him to check in on me, but it would explain it. "Oh, no, I was just walking around," he said. He was really starting to creep me out now, so I said I was fine and closed the door. I waited for him to leave my porch, then went back to cooking. I texted my sister that night, asking if she'd ever encountered that man, but she said no. I was paranoid the rest of the night. I felt safe inside my home. All the doors were locked and everything, but I also felt like I was being stalked and watched. What could that man possibly want that wasn't something creepy? The night passed again, with no more signs of him, and same with the following day. He didn't knock on the door, and I had hoped it might actually be nothing to worry about. The day after, I had off work, and it was the last day that my sister would be gone for. I spent most of my time inside and just hanging out, reading and watching YouTube. Every so often, I'd peek out the windows just to be cautious, but I never saw anything. Around 8, I was watching TV when I heard something scrape against the outside of the house. It sounded like a stick scratching along the siding. I quickly got up and opened the blinds, seeing the bush right under the window shaking, and faintly, I could hear footsteps running away. I couldn't see anything else in the dark though. I felt like I was going to throw up. Surely it was the same man, but how long was he there? Was he sitting in the bushes, trying to watch me through the window? I was so out of it, I didn't know what to do, and ended up calling my sister. Luckily for me, she picked up. I tried to explain to her what was going on, but I think I was talking too fast for her to understand, and midway through the conversation, there was a knock at the door. I didn't answer, but the man started calling out and knocking louder. He asked me to let him in and tried to guilt trip me by saying he was injured. Then he made excuses for being outside my home and then started apologizing for everything. He continued to bang on the door. It was creepy and disturbing how desperate he was for me to open the door. Clearly something was wrong with him. My sister told me to call 911 immediately, so I hung up and did as she said. The man stayed at the door for a whole 5 minutes, still trying to convince me to let him in, before he finally left. What the man actually wanted is unknown, and how long he was stalking me for is also unknown. He could have somehow figured out my sister was gone for the week. It just seems like too big of a coincidence. Whatever the case, I haven't seen him at all since then. Hopefully it's over.